welcome to Reviews on the Run. It's been a week of specials, but this is the special that's more special than any of our other specials. This is the one we talk about all of the hot games at E3 2010. All right, we've been talking about trends. We've been talking about press conferences and the presents.
We talked about some girls.
We talked about girls, but it got uncomfortable, so we had to move on. We heard from the censors. Let's talk about games, and let's start with racing. Racing was a big deal. In some racing games, you could race like this.
That's silly.
Boy.
Don't do that.
Just not trying to make fun of anybody, but you can do that now. You can with Joyride. But let's talk about racing games. What were the racing games that blew your mind? Let's start with you, Jeff.
It looks like Burnout in the Need for Speed universe
Yeah.
with chases and cops, which is cool. But Gran Turismo, it's hard to argue against Gran Turismo because it's just it's all the racing that there is in the world.
They've spent like half a century, I think, on Gran Turismo. I think when Kazunori-san was conceived, he didn't say when, he said Gran Turismo 5.
This fetishistic approach to crafting these cars with bazillions of polygons does nothing for me. I think Gran Turismo is a lifeless, miserly world, empty cars driving through worlds that nobody lives in.
They got people
I
in
don't care.
I have a lifeless, miserly fetish, so that's all good.
Yeah, and they got all the cars, and they got NASCAR and rally racing and all the
they got
cars.
the track from Top Gear. Awesome. The Sting, right? The Sting, right?
I kind of agree, but I was impressed when I saw it. And it looks
NASCAR right
slick. It looks so glossy.
Didn't it come out last year?
No, it has not yet.
I mean, look, our favorite racing game last year was Mod Nation Racers,
Yes.
and that game came out and was very, very
Amazing,
cool.
yeah.
And this year was all about kind of realism with Gran Turismo. I also got to play Forza, which was one of these guys.
How are you going to weave through traffic like that?
I just don't get it. I think this is a bad application for
I mean,
racing
if someone calls, you're screwed, right? Oh, yeah. I mean, what are you going to do? Everybody's going to be crashing all the time. All right. Well, how about yourself, Steve?
You know, I'm with Jones. The GT5 thing just turns me right off.
Yeah. It does feel like going to school, right?
It alarms me that the Sony faithful get overjoyed the fact that, oh, it's coming out this year.
They got to be really faithful if they're still hanging on for that game. That thing has been taking forever.
But I agree with Need for Speed, the new one. My only concern is that Burnout's going to be just burned out now, that they're not going to make any more Burnouts, that it's been co-opted.
They made the ultimate Burnout.
They kind of did, that's true. You can't really top that.
My concern about this, too, is that I think Burnout Paradise might be a better game, quite frankly, than Need for Speed Hot Pursuit.
They're showing very little of Need for Speed Hot Pursuit.
I know they are, and they're coming up with that new Auto Club and everything like that, and we can't judge it till it's out. And it is going to get my vote for the best racing game at this show, but I do feel like they almost took a step backwards because there isn't as much crazy creativity as they have.
Where are the racing games? I mean, we just came off Split Second and Blur. Is that?
Do you have a favorite?
My favorite is the fact that I don't want to see GT5. I'm going with an anti-favorite.
Anti-favorite. Ben got one?
I like the anti-favorite, but I'm going to go with Need for Speed. It was totally awesome.
Yeah, I like fake Burnout Need for Speed.
I love Criterion Need for Speed.
Yeah.
Need for Speed, Need for Speed. Okay, so there's our racing game of the show, Need for Speed, Hot Pursuit. Good to have you back. Let's talk RPGs, and I know that these are very, very difficult to kind of get a feel for when we're on the big show floor. Old Republic is a big contender. We saw a new trailer that blew all of our minds.
They're the best Star Wars movies I've seen.
making those trailers after the game comes out.
Is anybody making the game? Because we see a lot of
Yeah, I don't know. You know, I had some hands-on time with that.
Yeah.
And
I bet you did.
I really have my hands all over it, not in a Connect way. And it's all voice acted, you know? And you don't really understand how awesome that is until you sit with the game and people are talking. You can listen, you can walk away. It just feels like a huge, huge production.
Now, there's a free-to-play Star Wars game from Sony.
Clone Wars Adventures.
Yeah, Clone Wars Adventures, and that actually looks very decent. And they have it on screens next to their DC Universe Online, another big MMORPG coming up. And I hate to say it, I like the look of the Clone Wars Adventures better than, and it's free.
It's like Free Realms. It's almost a reskinned Free Realms with just a lot of little mini games in it.
And I know it won't have the depth or the escape that Old Republic will, but it looked pretty sweet. Did you check out any RPGs that caught your eye?
I'm the biggest Fallout fanboy in the universe.
I love Fallout myself. Do you have Pip-Boy pajamas? Did you just reveal something? You know what's cool about Fallout New Vegas is it's Obsidian that's doing it, and all those guys worked on the original Fallout, and it's so cool that they get to have it back. Jeff?
Star Wars: The Old Republic is going to own me.
Yeah.
And you know what else I saw they showed at THQ was the new Warhammer 40K MMO.
Yeah.
And I got so excited and I was like, guys, when's this coming out? And they're like, 2013, and I was like,
That's a bigger tease than the 3DS.
That's a bigger tease than the ladies were seeing on the show floor.
So what are we going to do for best RPG?
Old Republic for
You're
the
right.
win. It's gonna get me playing MMO.
Old Republic. All right. Old Republic.
All right.
All right, Old Republic.
All right.
Old Republic. We'll be right back with more.
Welcome back to the show. It's yet another special.
Yeah.
Starring Victor Lucas and friends.
It's very nice.
Now we're going to turn our attention to best fighting game of the show. And I want to start with you, Victor. What fighting game did you see that really blew you away?
Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Ridonkulous.
Yes.
There was a huge crowd around that booth all week long. The people are battling it out.
It looks incredible, man.
Yeah.
I mean, especially now when the Marvel characters are so beloved and well known, more so than when the first and second came out. Now we've got all these movies, and over the next couple of years, it's just Marvel movie madness all the time. This game is going to be very, very successful, and it's going to have a long run with probably cool downloadable content, probably movie-related Marvel characters. But what I've seen so far, I mean, they have a level in New York, and there's a big Spider-Man blimp floating in behind them, and all this amazing, just background animation that's cool. And I love all of these characters, all of the Capcom stuff and all of them.
Jeff, I know that you got a chance to look at the Move fighting game, right?
I did.
And what did you think of that?
people should avoid it. I want to agree with Vic and say, give me Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Ben, what about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, Marvel vs. Capcom, and not only is it really beautiful, but the gameplay borrows from Super Street Fighter 4, which is such a great game that was able to be both deep and accessible.
Amazing, yeah.
So is this game. It's far and away. Mortal Kombat, fun.
Yeah.
Fatalities are completely ridiculous
Yes,
this
they
year.
are.
They're way over the top, but it's all about Marvel vs.
Now,
Capcom.
Jose, you're always with the wrestling. You're always with the UFC.
WWE All-Stars, baby, just announced, man. It's like a throwback to Superstars on the arcade.
It's really not fair to put these big fantasy fighters up against these kind of real-life fighters.
Because there's no fantasy in the WWE.
True, right? Yeah, there's no make-believe.
All real.
I still would like to see the fighting genre evolve someday.
Yes.
At Street Fighter 4.
Well, you'll
wasn't
see it
a huge
evolve
fan
to
of.
Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Well,
I
It's
can't
more
wait.
fan service.
Yeah, I'm
it's
a fan.
beautiful, but it's fan
beautiful.
service.
I can't wait. I'm a fan.
What it is.
What do you think, Steve?
Well, I look at Marvel vs. Capcom and I appreciate the awesomeness of it, but I've never been any good at Street Fighter. I'm not good at the really technical fighting games.
Yeah.
So Mortal Kombat for me holds more appeal.
Marvel Kombat.
Marvel Kombat.
So let's turn really quickly to shooters from the show floor.
Absolutely.
Victor, let's start again with you. Shooter that knocked you out.
I think Gears of War 3 is still phenomenal. I mean, I love that franchise
girls
so
in it
much.
now.
There's women, there's more wide open battlefields. I think it's going to have improved multiplayer and it just tighter. They're like really playgrounding this. They're really tuning and making
What
it just
about
more
Bulletstorm,
awesome.
though?
That
Anybody?
looks great. That looks
Anybody?
awesome.
Yes.
Jeff?
I love this sort of creativity while you're shooting idea that they're putting forth with Bulletstorm, where it really encourages you to not just take each new encounter the same way you've taken all the others. You really try to have fun.
And it was genuinely
And it's-
funny, too, and he's shooting at a fat guy and he's not dying. What is he doing, eating those bullets?
They had a great line. They had a great line about that, actually. The developers said that, usually when you play a shooter, you go, oh crap, enemies. And in this game, you go, oh crap, enemies. And you get excited about it. It's like a burnout shooter, where you just really want to hit other cars. You want to find enemies, track them down, and blow them up in as many creative ways. It's funny that we're refreshed with a game that's actually a throwback.
It's almost Duke Nukem-esque in a way, right?
Yeah.
Steve, did you have one?
I went into withdrawal when the Halo Reach beta ended,
Yeah.
and I figure if I can have that much fun with the beta
Yeah, I
multiplayer
know.
of the game,
It's Bungie's last game, and I asked the guys when they gave me the demo, how does it feel? And I think they said that some of them are going to be crying when they hand over that gold disc. It's going to be the last time they touch it.
2K had a new shooter, XCOM. Looks pretty good as a 50s style set shooter.
That's
But
Ken Levine.
yeah,
Coming back from Boston.
coming back from BioShock 1, and now I'm looking forward to GoldenEye on the Wii.
Really?
right.
Seriously? I mean, it's an interesting throwback, but I think it's going to be fun. And I
Don't
played
forget
the
to play it.
multiplayer. It's Eurocom made that, which is cool. They made World Is Not Enough on the N64. It looks like fun throwback for sure. But I think, thinking about this a little bit further, Crysis 2, I think, is the game that I'm most excited about for this year.
awesome.
That Crysis 1 was sensational. It was underplayed
play it, though.
because they didn't have the machines, but when you finally could get it, it was ridiculous. The nano suit.
console, so-
I was saying we need banana suits in one of these shooter, but the nano shooter is unbelievable. The tech stuff that you get in this thing, and it's showing off. I mean, they're dropping New York City buildings and the lighting effects and everything incredible. And Killzone 3 looked great too.
Yeah, but you know, let's trust in id. Can we trust in id?
And
Can
Rage.
we talk about Rage?
Boy, this is going to be their best game.
Rage looks amazing.
This looks
I thought
incredible.
It looked really,
It's gonna
really
be their
great.
best game.
Rage, I really believe it. Yeah.
My ass.
It looks, it's almost got RPG
They make
elements.
Doom.
I liked Borderlands when I played it the first time.
This is much deeper, much deeper.
So let's pick a shooter of the show, Jeff.
I think I might want to go with Homefront. It really surprised me.
And Jose?
I want to play more GoldenEye.
More GoldenEye? I know you want Homefront.
I'm actually going to go with Bulletstorm. That looks like the most fun.
And Steve?
Just for sentimental reasons, I gotta say Reach. Halo Reach. I want to play multiplayer.
I'm Bulletstorm, and you ended, buddy.
I'm Crisis 2, and then next year it'll be Gears 3. I think
Gets it.
Bulletstorm gets our vote.
So let's take a little break.
Yeah,
We'll come back right after this with more goodness from Element.
absolutely.